Hi, welcome to the Dice Gods. My name is Hydra, and today we're going to be doing a quick first impressions and unboxing review of the new Marut for Infinity the game from Corvus Belli. It's not really our intention on this channel to do reviews and unboxings like this specifically. However, the Marut is the first miniature that we've received from Corvus Belli, which is made from their new SioCast material. Traditionally, all Infinity miniatures have been made from metal, and this little guy isn't. She is a type of plastic. Now, according to the SioCast guys, the quality and detail of this miniature should be better, in fact, than white metal. And we should have a miniature that is 7.5 times less dense, so lighter than your normal white metal miniatures. That's great. But does it actually live up to the hype? Do we have the detail? What's it like to work with? So yeah, let's not discuss it too much further. Let's unbox this and actually have a look at what's in there. Just some background while I do this. The Marut was actually the original miniature which got me into Infinity the game. When I was looking to move on from Warhammer 40,000 about 10 years ago nearly, I hunted around through various systems and I came across the predecessor to this one. She had bunny ears, she had boob armor, she had combat heels, she had a booty to die for, 4 arms, a big gun and a big sword, and it melted my brain, to be honest with you. I'd never seen anything like it. It was the first miniature that I bought, and it was also the first one I painted badly, in all honesty, for Infinity. So this particular unit has a very special place in my heart, so I am slightly nervous, if that's such a thing. Can you be nervous about a miniature? Anyway, I'm slightly nervous about this miniature just to see how the new material holds up. So I'm going to stop procrastinating now and find out. Okay, well, first impressions are pretty good. There's a lot of really nice crisp detail on there. It is the weirdest thing in the world to have such a light Infinity miniature in my hand. With picking up that box, it felt like it was empty, to be honest with you. We've got a few bits of flash around here, nothing insane on this leg. Easily cleared, no real mould lines or anything. Well, I say there's a little bit of one there, as soon as you say it. There's a little bit of one there. The main body itself, there's a little like crack down there. But that is part of the design, it turns out. Okay, a couple of mould lines there. Nothing horrific so far. The multi-HMG and heavy flamethrower, designed to ruin the enemy's day. Okay, I don't know whether you can see this on the camera. Let's just see if we can show that. It's actually moved up to 3 barrels because, you know, well, technically 4 with the heavy flamethrower, because 1 was not enough. You're going to need 3. I'm here for that, to be honest with you. That works for me. But again, I've got a contact point there that's going to need to be taken off. A couple of little bits of flash. That's not awful. And the sword, if they are stupid enough to get close enough and I decide not to barbecue them. Again, we see this very nice detail on there, very clean and crisp. Still weirdest thing in the world to have such a light Infinity miniature. You're going to hear that a lot. Okay, all the wonderful bits and pieces for her back as well. I won't get those out just yet. Spare hand, head. There's a few contact points on here that are going to need cleaning up, definitely. I'm looking at the arms, they've got points on the elbows and on the shoulder that are going to need to be taken out. Let me just show you what I mean with that. But to be honest, no worse than the metal ones used to be. That one's not too bad. Look at this guy. There we go. Just hold that up there. So these guys here are going to need to come off, get tidied up. That's not awful. So far so impressed, I have to be honest. It's quite clean. There's not a lot of work to be done here. Actually, the detail on like the head, should we see whether we can get that in there? Get that right in there. Can you see the eyes? They are so crisp. It's gorgeous. Now, with Infinity, when I first started, what I found was that the miniatures were so good, it made me work harder. It made me improve my painting skills quite a lot, pretty much overnight. And I don't know, maybe it's, yeah, it looks like the detail on here is even nicer than the ones we've had come before. So I think I'm going to have to up my game again, which is just disappointing. But there we go. So far, she looks stunning. She weighs nothing, which is really weird. In fact, we're going to do a little thing here. We're going to find out how much this new tag actually weighs. So let's put her all on there. So the grand total for the new Marut, including a base, is 14 grams. Now, that's not a lot. But if we were to say, get a metal salamandra, equivalent sort of size, that's 164. It's actually lost 150 grams in the change between the materials, which is awesome. I mean, these guys are lovely and they're detailed and they're fantastic. The metal is always stunning, but they're heavy and it is a pain to work with. You know, gluing it, getting it to hold together when you drop it, because it's going to happen. It normally happens when you give it to somebody else to look at for the first time. They're like, oh, that's nice. Off it goes. Bounce. The weight of this makes it harder to paint and harder to work with. I think the new Marut here, she doesn't weigh anything. I mean, it doesn't weigh anything. So I think that's going to make it much easier to work with, much easier to paint. And I think that's a good thing. You know, I mean, the price per gram has gone up slightly. The prices have pretty much remained static with the tags and the change between the materials, which, okay, that's fine. I don't have any issue with Corvus Belli pricing. I have seen some people say that they'd anticipate the change from from metal to plastic would result in a drop in price. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't think that Corvus Belli's pricing is horrific. How to get yourself flamed on the internet? I think the pricing's fine. Oh dear. RAP my comments. Anyway, I think that pricing's fine, and the quality of the stuff they put out is just great. It's just lovely. And the question is, do I get a second one of these, or do I get an old school one so I have two different types? Decisions have to be made. But for now, what I'm going to do is clean this young lady up and then glue her together and see how that goes in the experience, and I will report back shortly. As you can see, the building of the Marut went pretty fast and easy. However, there are some points to note. First, you don't need to wash the parts before assembly. No release agent is used during production, so according to the SioCast guys, no bath needed. Second, you can't use the plastic glue that you may be familiar with say GW products. Here I've used some Gorilla Superglue gel and it stuck quickly and solid. Being a gel, it's easier to control so you don't end up with it all over the Mini. Would highly recommend. To remove flash and the other bits and pieces from around the miniature, I had a modelling knife with new blade and some files. And off I went. And there's the next thing to note. The material they use is fairly soft, and that makes filing really ineffective. The best way to clean the mould lines off is to cut them away with a knife. The same with the sprue connection points. Cut the worst away, then carefully grind down what's left. And you do really want to be careful, because too much pressure and you are going to cut a chunk away of your miniature. There's a lot of flex and give in the plastic as well, so guiding parts into place is pretty easy. Even when you need to put some bend in there, it gives up pretty easily without any sort of damage or stress marks or anything like that, which is fantastic. So what do I think of SioCast after the first build? Honestly, I'm fairly impressed. It's mostly nicely detailed, fits together well, and glues easily. All a bonus in my book. Being so much lighter, it's much easier to work with than the heavy metal tags that we used to have, like the beautiful Salamander. However, there are a lot of mould lines, and some of them are quite small. You don't really notice them even when you're looking for them. And due to the nature of the material, they're also not easy to remove, especially in places where you're going to struggle to get the knife. Looking at the miniature after I built it, I have noticed that I've missed some. Hopefully they won't show up when it's been painted, but we shall see. However, that's not the worst of it. There are a couple of points on the miniature where the detail was very soft and, to be honest, not great. The worst and most visible example of this was on the chest plate. Here's a side-by-side shot of the box artwork and the mini that I have. As you can see, that central vertical line is very clear and distinct on the box art, and missing sort of filled in on mine. I've yet to decide if I'm going to try and open this up on my mini or fill it and get rid of it completely. As the material is so soft, filling might give a more reliable result, but for now I think I'm going to undercoat the miniature and see how it looks with some paint on it. Undercoating is also an area of note. According to SioCast, you don't need to use it with their plastic, you can just paint directly onto the miniature. A great idea, but with all the fine detail on Infinity miniatures, and especially with some of the areas of this new SioCast, I think getting a thin priming coat layer down is a good call. But let's try it out and see. While I get on with the spray painting, just a quick aside for those unfamiliar with the Marut. Here are the stats for its use in game. As you can see, she's quite the beast, with a 6'4 movement, CC of 18, ballistic skill 15, Fizz of 17, whip 15, arm 8, BTS 9, 3 structure, a silhouette of 7, she's a tag, that's to be expected, and availability of 1 in vanilla LF and a availability of 2 in OSS. 2 Maruts, that's a beautiful thought. As you can see from those stats, she is a pretty heavy tag, and with that BS of 15 and whip of 15, she's quite a tank. Equipment wise, we have the negative modifier to guided weaponry, making her harder to hit for those kind of sneaky tricks. And with her multispectral visor level 2, she ignores all the negative modifiers for mimetism. So with that whip 15, she's a fairly reliable camo hunter. The skills: remote presence, she's LF of course. The +1 damage to ballistic attacks is fantastic. Courage, yes. The negative modifier to dodge, she is quite a big target, not exactly the quickest to get out of the way. Immunity to shock is nice. Being healed by a gizmo kit on 13 is not too bad. Tactical awareness to give her the bonus, irregular order is awesome, and terrain total is cool too. You've got 2 loadouts in there. Both of them have the multi-heavy machine gun, heavy flamethrower, nanopulsar, and AP close combat weapon, which is just a fantastic loadout. The ability to ARO with a single explosive round from that multi-HMG is awesome. The large template flamethrower is just great, and then the BTS damaging nanopulsar, which is also a template weapon, although a small one, is a nasty surprise for those heavy armoured troops out there. The 2 variants are standard for 1.5 SWC and 95 points, or you have the Lieutenant build for 99 points and 2 SWC. The big difference here being that this comes with Strategio's level 2. That allows you to keep 2 miniatures to one side to deploy after your opponent in the deployment phase, which is always useful. It turns your lieutenant order into a regular order, so that's a bonus as well. And you can move troops between combat groups, or move a trooper between combat groups without spending a command token, which is always useful. That does make your Marut a really useful lieutenant, but with her being such a big target, I definitely say you're going to need to take a chain of command trooper with her as well. But enough game news, now back to the miniature. How does she look with some paint on? And here she is with a layer of Vallejo Mecha Black over the top. This was airbrushed on, and I have to say I'm impressed. This is a single layer of black and it's gone on smooth and easy, unwashed. There was no issues with the paint coming away or anything like that. It's dried really well and really matte, but that's the Mecha Black. But yeah, it's created a fantastic base layer. Can't fault it in any way, shape or form. So overall, my impressions of SioCast. It's not perfect. There are the issues that I've mentioned about there being mould lines and how hard those are to remove. I've got that small miscast on the chest of my Marut, which I'm still figuring out how I'm going to fix. But I am impressed. It is really easy to glue together and takes paint really well. The paint seems to bind to it beautifully. So I think, combined with the massive reduction in weight as well, these miniatures are going to be less likely to chip, obviously, but I think also they're going to take the odd bounce a lot better than the old metal ones did. And that's only to the good. We have to keep in mind that this is a decision that Corvus Belli and many other manufacturers are making because of the price of the white metal raw materials out there at the moment. As replacements go, SioCast is fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what the guys come up with next. And I have to say, the extra bonus of the reduction in weight of my miniature bag will be appreciated. If I wanted to do free weights, I'd go to the gym. And there you have it, that's our first impressions of SioCast and a look at the beautiful new Marut miniature for Infinity. What do you think? Have you used SioCast so far? What's your experience been? Let us know in the comments below. As ever, thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you're enjoying what we're doing, and we will see you again soon.